How do you feel about marrying outside of your race? Phoebe, go ahead.
Phoebe, you're the oldest. Yeah.
I'm interested to hear what Lowell says.
Oh.
That's the age.
Yeah.
Because I'm the
It's
guy.
completely fine as long as you're attracted to the person. It doesn't matter where they're.
You don't think it complicates things?
Oh. It'd be
course.
easier to marry somebody
It's,
from your
it's,
race.
for me, when like if I was to marry an American, I'm Americanized enough that
Yeah,
I
as far
can get
as
along
you-
with them.
She's talking about when it comes to family and
Yeah.
How are you
Mhm.
gonna
With
raise
your
your child?
cultural holidays.
We would split it. One Christmas
Yeah.
at my parents, another Christmas at his.
But Christmas is not even at the same time.
Yeah, you're gonna get the guy who's very confused. He's like, Easter is a different time? You guys have a different calendar?
Yeah.
You guys
marry
are...
somebody who's close-minded, though. You marry somebody who's willing.
Right, of course,
Yeah.
like, I mean, if you guys are willing to date, he should be accepting of your culture. If not, you have a problem, you know?
I don't
Yeah.
think it matters who it is.
Yeah.
I mean, what race they are.
Well, when you're old, not old, but would you want to move back to Ethiopia? To live, I mean.
Once he dies.
Maybe.
I think
Die.
that person have to accept all those.
But
You
Like-
just
I
that's
mean,
kind
it's
of like
completely wrong of you to ask someone who's never been to this country, even
Mhm.
if
To
he's
move
been
there,
there,
yeah.
Right.
like completely give up your life here, give up your family here, and just move to another country.
Yeah,
that
especially
Yeah,
if
that
you're
is
in
hard.
another
aware of.
country too.
So
Vacation home.
she's just kind of like, since you want to move back to Ethiopia at the end, like whenever you have your career ready, you have your money ready, you want to move back. And if he says no, like, wouldn't that complicate things?
Yeah.
You compromise. Maybe you can do like half the year here, half the year there.
It's not always that easy. You
All right.
feel like it's just like,
Yeah.
okay,
marriage is
Phoebe's in a la la land right now.
No.
Half year there, half year over there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible. It's just it'd be easier to marry somebody within
A
your
lot of
culture.
people do it. There's a lot of Ethiopians
Yeah.
married to people.
you can do that.
Basically, her answer is to say that if you are willing to marry a person that's outside of your race, you need to realize that those things will come. Yeah, and you have to be willing. If you're willing enough to put that up, that is what she's saying.
That's what I mean.
On the token of pride, do you think that generally Aboriginal people have too much pride in their culture? Do you think that
Well, like I said, like most people that come from like third world countries and you know, from especially like Eastern countries, they of course you're gonna have more pride, and but you don't want your child to be raised with one dominant, you know, culture, so you just have to compromise. Again, it all goes back to compromising, and you know,
I've heard a lot of people say that Ethiopians are more stuck up than other cultures.
of course,
Yeah, like
that's true.
yeah. I have a friend. He goes to a school where it's very
Mhm.
diverse. He said like all the African students, they all
Wo-
chill
together.
but the Ethiopians seem to separate themselves. and
Exactly.
They don't wanna, like,
and why do you
interact
think
with
that
others.
is?
I don't know.
Because they think they're different in some way, I
Not
guess.
happening everywhere.
And I think it's hard for them to be
Because I think
accepted by
they,
our
I don't know. I think we
I
assume that we're a little bit
it's not-
different than the Western
Example,
countries.
Yeah, I
For
don't.
example,
You know?
there was an ASA, African Students
Union,
Association
and the
club.
Ethiopians weren't in the.
No, me and her attended the meeting. Me and Beth attended the meeting, and they like just like looked at us different. They were acting toward us.
Yeah,
I
because
feel
you
like
have a lot of the Western
like it
countries.
is the way
You know, they have the same languages. You know, you got people that speak the Swahili, French, and all that stuff. You know, so they can relate more to each other than us. Who had you know different
I
culture.
think it's their problem. I mean, like when it comes to that,
You would say
it's
that
their.
because
Their problem.
'Cause I feel like we
Yeah,
were very open.
we were very
but
open, nice and stuff, and it's like there was only one girl. You know, she was like, you should bring Ethiopian food, and we're doing this and that. Everybody's like, oh, Nigeria, and
Because
like,
the
the
whole
only
group
focus
was
that-
Western.
yeah, and they
Africa.
just like focused. You know, they didn't
Exactly.
Really, like, it was just very.
No, they relate to each other more because they speak the same languages, in to some degree. Yeah, some of them speak French. You know, they have a lot of similar culture. They eat the same type of food. You know, I mean, if you have a group instead of having African Union, if you have the East African Union, things might be different. You know, Somalians, Eritreans, Ethiopians. You see, we relate to each other more. You see, I think it depends on the region where we are, more so than saying Africa, because Africa is, you know, a big continent. It's not just one country.
I think people in America understand the divisions of Europe more than they do the divisions.
Of course.
Africa's one country.
Mhm.
Because
Obviously, yeah, a lot
Africa's
of times.
one it's just like all the dark people are in Africa.
Mhm.
But then, like,
Yeah,
you know,
But I guess the follow-up question to that is, what do you guys consider yourselves? Do you say that you're black, or do you think that that's too broad of a category? Do you prefer to say that you're Ethiopian, or?
Yeah,
I prefer to
saying
say I'm Ethiopian.
you're I like black. black
No, like,
I'm
because
black.
black is like what other people see
Yeah.
you as. Like, it's just like perception from another person. So you can't identify yourself. It's like if I think you're black and I'm looking at you, well, you're black. And so with black, I think it's like broader, and it's not like saying, okay, you're Ethiopian. You have to get in depth into like what does.
Has anyone
Black
ever
is
told
more-
you you're not black? Because
Yeah.
I feel like my African friends tell me I'm not black, but yeah, I'm African. They're like, no, you're not black.
I think
Well, African doesn't mean black. It just means
Black is just like
that black.
color of your
When you
skin.
guys took the SATs
Mhm.
or applied for a job, you know how the racial
Yeah.
thing. But do you guys check black or other?
Yes.
I put other
I've
and
done
I put
both.
Ethiopian.
Serious? I think
I put
that's
other.
Because
If there isn't another, I'm a black.
I do black because that's what we are.
Japan is not a color of skin, it's a nationality.
I check
Yeah.
other, and then
Others.
if there's a blank,
I put
Right, yeah.
Ethiopian.
I always do black.
Oh,
instead of
really?
Black,
Yeah.
but when they
I
have
think that's
African American.
ridiculous.
I think that's I think I would be offended
When they have black,
if
when
I
they
was
have black,
African
it's not
American.
black.
Black is
Because
not a bad
yeah, it's not a bad word.
Then I'll
It's
check other because I
No,
don't
I like
know.
when they're
yeah.
black.
So
Black
I
is
mean,
just like,
look at
okay.
like if you check your the mirror
There's no
and then you see that color and just write it down. Honestly, that's what you
They
need
write
people to
caramel at the bottom.
Right. If you see it on there, yeah.
I mean,
They-
yeah,
they're
Asian, there's how many types
Pacific
of Asian?
Islanders,
Especially like
Asian.
Hispanics. How difficult is that for you to be like, no, I'm not. I'm like,
Yeah,
Cuba.
what do you say? Yeah, I'm not
I'm from
Hispanic,
Cuba.
I'm Cuban.
Yeah. It's like they're all
not-
mashed up. And, like Hispanic is that's an
The
American
point
term.
of it is to generalize
Yeah.
all the black people into the black category. Like, it's
Mhm.
not.
I think for me, I just put black because that's who I am,
It's easier to
and
say.
it only takes to look at my color of my skin to say I'm black. Of course, I'm not going to say I'm white. I'm not a Pacific Islander. I'm not Asian. You know, I'm not Hispanic. So,
Whichever one you
and I'm not going to try to, make another circle and write Ethiopian on it because yeah. I think black is a good word. I think black is beautiful.
Yeah, I like
you know.
it better than African American.
I'm not saying it's not.
Mhm.
I don't like African
Yeah,
Americans. Don't
like did you notice? Like did you
Africa.
notice sometimes when they ask you for your race, they have African American and then they have white, as if the word black is bad, but white is not bad, so it's not Caucasian. Instead of saying
black, African
black or white, they would say
See, to that, I would check
white
if it says
and then
descent.
African
I would check
American.
black. But if it
Mhm.
says black,
There's nothing
I'll
wrong
just
with-
check other.
with the
No,
word
I feel like
black.
African American is also unfair to black people, like people that are never been to America, Africa. It's like,
So you-
well, I relate just the same to this white person sitting next to me as I do to America as I do to Africa. So like,
When I hear
Say
like the word
African
African American, I just think like.
I think that's more fair to us than it
African-Americans
is to
are
them.
like like Africans that are born here that were
Mhm.
here. Like even if you get your citizenships, I can't.
That's what I'm saying. If it say just black, I'll check it. If it's African American,
I
I
don't
don't
check.
check it
Yeah, I
simply
do.
because I don't consider myself an American. That's
Mhm.
all.
Yeah.
If it just say black,
Right.
black is
Black
my
is
color.
black is
I can't deny it. So
African American is more of an ethnicity than
Right.
black.
yeah.
Mhm.
Black is more of like a little bit.
But I feel like
political,
African American
artificial
fits us
division.
better than
Nah,
would them.
I disagree.
No, I disagree with that.
Because at least black is like more general. and
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying no.
African-American is, like-
I agree with that, but I'm saying the word African American, you guys are like that's them. I think that's more us than it is them.
Do you think if the word African American had a better connotation, good,
People would be more willing to.
people would be like, hey, I'm African American.
Yeah, I
Listen,
think
okay.
because
Black
I think that would be-
has a negative connotation.
Of course.
Black does.
Of course it does. I mean,
I think black is even like
Black is worse than
not the
African
reason we don't
American.
check
People
I
try
think
to,
African
people try
Am-
to tone it down by
I
saying
know,
African
I just
American.
don't
That's
check
not.
it because that's
That's
not
not.
me.
That's not who you are.
So why does it have a negative connotation?
because of what you see.
TV.
Does it?
I mean, what's
the media.
I
Like,
mean, how the media portrays black people.
Well, black people struggle, and
Yeah.
they have more troubles than it seems than other races.
And their
So-
problems are significant. Like they're becoming.
It's not
They're
their
like an
problem,
issue
it's
of.
portrayed as their problems.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't know.
That's true. there's more. It's harder to be black than it is to be white, and therefore they struggle more. Therefore, you see more, more of their issues put out there. That's why it's negative. And when people see the things, they don't really understand.
And it's true
what the
though. I mean,
difference
you see more black people causing more problems. What like why?
See
That's
that,
a
or is the
question
media
of
showing
argument.
it?
But that's what we see today.
Well, then you
and
also see like all the statistics of as many black people that are in jail. You know, there's more
right.
black people in jail than white people, but the population is like so many more white people than black people.